All right. Welcome, guys. Hope everyone had a good weekend. It is Sunday, April 23rd. I hope you guys are ready to get the week started tomorrow. I know I surely am. It's getting to the point where I have fun on the weekends, but I'm by the time Monday comes around, I'm ready to get shit going. So first thing I want to look at, news going into the week. Monday, don't have anything. Tuesday, we do have consumer confidence at 10 a.m. So something we need to be careful of, especially near the open, 30 minutes after the open. Wednesday, we have durable goods, nothing too heavy. And then Thursday, we do have unemployment claims, advanced GDP. That's pretty much it. And then Friday, we have PCE and unemployment cost. That's pretty much it. So we do have some fairly not too much news, but we do have some news this week that we need to be careful of. So let's dive into the charts here. First thing I want to go over is Friday, just the action, what we were looking at, my bias going into the day, and then we'll get into sort of what I'm looking at going into this week. So on Friday, we did our charting session on Thursday, and our charting session on Thursday, I was pretty confident that we were going to this would be our buy side liquidity. And I still think that this is the draw on liquidity, is this high here. As you can see, if we go to zoom out on a 1 hour time frame, we are still holding this past fair value gap, as well as there's a 4 hour order block here. We did sweep liquidity from this sell side right here, and we just swept internal as well. So I am thinking that we do head to take out buy side liquidity, these highs here now. I want to see more momentum. Again, Friday, I was a little bit concerned just because the action, again, we were in a 20-point range the whole day. We were getting massive moves one way, and then, we dumped and pumped and dumped and pumped. So it was a lot of opportunity both ways, but I would like to see cleaner action to target buy side, especially after taking this sell side and this internal sell side here. So I do want to talk about we did take, so the first trade we took, or one of the trades we took is this, and this was probably the best setup we could get. Also talking about, actually, first thing I want to talk about is actually this. If we zoom out on a weekly here, it's kind of hard to see because I have all these drawings. So let me take off some of these real quick so you can see. All right. So as you can see here, the action, the way that we like to talk about when we have high quality setups is when I take this candle right here, right? Once we get this big impulse move and we get this doji candle, we take the range from this, and we can see that we have not broken out of this range in the last 4 weeks. The 4 weeks, every single weekly candle has been in this range. So this week I am expecting, I'm hoping, not really expecting because we could do whatever, but I am hoping that we can break out of this range, either if we get a push upwards or get a push downwards. That is where we will start to see more higher quality setups, better action. Right now, again, we are just chopping in this range, not a lot of clean movement. That's why markets have been pretty hard to navigate the last 2 weeks. A lot of traders have been, struggling, including myself. So I want to see more action, either breaking out of this to the upside or, heading back lower to take these low out. But I want to see us get out of this range. Going to the daily, again, we still have not taken this buy side liquidity at the high. I would like to see a push up, but I am totally fine seeing if we get a push down as well. But I think I'm more bullish than I am bearish, just because we have not swept that high yet. But again, anything can happen. We'll see. Going down to a 15-minute. So going on to that Friday trade, I do want to replay the action, to be honest, going into the day. And I want to see if there was anything that I saw now that I maybe didn't see before. So this was our buy side level. Going into the open here, we did, let me go back, replay. All right. So going into the open, I am going to look at a 1 minute and see if there was any sort of plays here. Now, on a bigger time frame, I am bullish at this point. The reason is because we're continuing to hold this 15-minute fair value gap. And we just swept external liquidity. I do want to see us hold this and then head higher. But we did sweep this 15-minute high here. So this is an important level. Now, if I would want to see higher, I would have wanted to see a big, strong push through this level. And if I'm bearish, I want to see this reject this level and then head back lower. So looking at this 1 minute, let's see if there was any opportunity taking a possible short trade here. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Let me go back, replay. So going into the day, I am bullish on a bigger time frame. So I do have to take into account that this is 15-minute buy side liquidity. So this could be a sweep of liquidity and then head back lower. 3 times. So again, if I'm bearish, first thing I want to see is sweep of liquidity. All right, that's what I got, right? I get a sweep of liquidity from the high. Now what do I want to see? I want to see a break of structure. All right, well, there is technically break of structure, right? You could mark it in as this. You could mark it in as this. The biggest thing that we want to take away from this is the displacement aspect of it, right? You can mark in your market structure shift. You can mark in your break of structure really wherever. It doesn't have to be super clean, but since you get this big push down and this big displacement down, this is now your reason to possibly be like, okay, we can now head lower to take out sell side liquidity, sell side in this case being this previous low right here. So now want to see if there would be any sort of setup like a fair value gap. We end up coming back here. Let me check a 2 minute. Now we did have a 2 minute fair value gap right here, which could have been a possible short entry. You have that market structure shift, have that pullback to fair value gap. That would have been a pretty quick entry. Stop would most likely be at the high. Again, continuing to hold this fair value gap here as well. Also a 3 minute fair value gap here. Continuing to hold. You get that displacement. One thing I like about this too is recognizing volume on pullbacks. I think we've talked about this a little bit, but I want to talk about this again as well. But understanding the volume on pullbacks, this is what we want to see. If we're short biased, we want to see a push back. You know, we have liquidity swept at the high. We want to see a push back into the range. We get that break of structure. You could put it here. You could put it here. It doesn't really matter. But we know that big candle come in, right? We know sellers are present. And now what's validating the setup even more is even though it's not a quick, fast move to the downside, right? We're starting to chop, but this is honestly what you kind of want to see as well. And the reason is because when we are so slowly starting to pull back to the upside, we continue to hold this fair value gap, but notice what happens to volume. Volume starts to decrease while we pull back. Notice the market is moving higher, but volume is decreasing. This means that, you know, buyers are starting to, you know, they're getting exhausted. Buyers are getting exhausted. We can't seem to push market higher. This is what we want to see. If we're bearish, we want to see a pullback to fair value gap and volume start to decrease, because then we get a breakout in volume, which then pushes us back down. That's exactly what we want to see. Pull back to fair value gap again. Big 1 minute candle still holding. Pull back to fair value gap again. And then we take out sell side, or do we form SMT? I'm not sure. I can't remember. Oh, wait, did we form SMT here? Oh, we did. We did. I remember this. Okay, we did form SMT at the lows here on NQ or on, yeah. So then we form another SMT right here. So at this point, I wouldn't really have taken any long here. And the reason why I wouldn't have taken any long at the low is because this external level has not been swept. I would want to see this external level swept first. So for me, there would still be no trade here. Is this called internal liquidity build up? What do you, for what specific example? So then this was the trade that we ended up taking. The best entry here would be this right here. Once we get that first fair value gap, still not yet, still not yet. There we go. Continuing to chop. Now, the thing is there's no clean market structure shift here. But the reason that I would be okay with taking a short or a long setup here, if there's no clean break of structure, is we could draw in something like this, no clean break. But the reason I like this is because you get a quick SMT form at the lows. If I bring up NQ here and I go to the 1 minute, you can see we get an SMT formed at the lows. We get external liquidity swept on ES. And I'm most likely expecting a similar thing happening like this move before. We come down and then we get a big move back up. So since we get SMT at the lows, since we can recognize the action, right? It's just been straight down, straight up, straight down. I'm expecting to see a similar move, especially when we have an SMT, we've swept external liquidity. So I don't really need to see a clean break of structure for me to enter long in this fair value gap. So this would be your long. And you would write it to buy side. And then the long that we ended up taking was, we had a 5 minute fair value gap form right here. I originally got stopped out on this play because I didn't let the formation form out. Ended up getting very choppy from here, but we did end up getting our first price target. Again, still holding that 5 minute fair value gap. We got to be able to take this kind of slow movement. So then we got half off at the high, and then the rest got stopped out at break even. Continue to break higher. Again, at this point, if we're looking at this chart on the 1 hour, the next draw on liquidity is going to be this high. Now, I also think the next draw on liquidity is this high, right? We've swept external liquidity. We're holding fair value gap. We swept internal. We're having a strong bounce. We're holding 5 minute fair value gap. I want to see the draw on liquidity be this high here. Now, I want to see if that was turtle soup. This could be a long entry potentially here on the 5 minute. I want to see if this was SMT here. I think it might have been. It looks like it could have been. It was. Yep. That's something that a lot of people, guys, the more we study together, the more you'll automatically see these things happen before even knowing it. Like, you'll know, I notice that most times when an SMT forms, I'll know that it's forming before I even look at NQ, right? Like, I knew that this was most likely an SMT here, right? Turtle soup going into this 5 minute fair value gap. And then forming SMT here with NQ. Now that we've formed this SMT, bounce to the highs, coming back into 5 minute, the draw should be this high. This would not be a terrible long, but I most likely would not take this long if I was actually in a trade just because of the action. But looking at a 5 minute, again, risk to reward here. Would be runner there, but again, we just end up chopping the rest of the day. I'm not even sure that buy side level was taken. You would want to get in a long trade on a 1 minute before that high gets taken. There we go. I want to see if there was a setup, because you would want to get long. Again, like we were talking about on Friday, the action today was more of like, you got like entering off break of structure. Like, once that SMT forms, you can see NQ forming a higher low. You can see ES is still holding that 5 minute fair value gap. You got to be able to recognize, okay, we're most likely going to hold here. If we get buyers stepping in, right? Like, if we're in a replay here and we see this and we're like, okay, market's coming down. We're still holding 5 minute fair value gap. We would like, again, we have equal lows here. Want to see these equal lows get taken out. All right, boom. We get equal lows taken out. We have an SMT form. We get a big buying candle right here. I'd want to see, a high here. All right. So now once we get like a break above this high with strong volume, you get a really nice risk reward setup, right? Because technically you're still trading off our model. You're still trading off a 5-minute external liquidity swept, internal swept. We're holding on 5-minute fair value gap and you're entering off SMT. So you're getting the best kind of risk reward here, because if you were to wait for this break, then enter long or enter long on the pullback, whatever it is. Oh, I kind of fucked up. Let me go back. So come back down. Once you get that high broken with the candle, whatever it is, you then get a great risk reward. Long to the high, first price target, stop at the low, three risk reward, and your runner can go to the buy side, right? Now, this is not a bad trade. This is where we have to recognize where we can trade off of break of structure and where we can't trade off of break of structure. The reason that I think you can trade off of break of structure here is because you're already trading inside of our model. You could have entered on any one of these lows, right? You could still enter off any one of these lows. This is the most precise entry you could get, because now you're getting turtle soup, which is that SMT formed inside the 5-minute fair value gap. If we look at the 5-minute, it's still holding. We have SMT at the lows. We have liquidity taken internally. We have liquidity taken internally again. We have external liquidity taken. You get a big move up, 5-minute fair value gap. You have everything you want to then know. We know the draw on liquidity is this high. Like, we know that that's the draw on liquidity. So where can we somehow get the best entry? Well, if we don't want to, have the most risk, which is, how we did before, which is out under here, you'd have to put your stop down here because, there's two big fair value gaps here on a 5-minute. You don't really get the best risk reward. Your first price target is, less than a 1-to-1 ratio, right? But if you want to get the best entry possible, you wait for the turtle soup, which is you wait for an SMT to form inside the 5-minute fair value gap, right? Because if we're trading on a 5-minute time frame, it's okay for us to wait for some sort of 1-minute confirmation, right? Because if we wait for a 1-minute if we just enter a 1-minute fair value gap, right? We sometimes our risk reward is skewed and we don't get the confirmation that we want. So when we're trading on a 5-minute and we get this 5-minute fair value gap and we get to look, we are like, okay, we have a 5-minute model playing out. We zoom in 3-minute. All right, see if we get anything. Once we see that big sell off and I recognize that NQ is like, okay, NQ is not going to take this low out. ES just took equal lows out. NQ is not even close to taking this low out. Now we're starting to see ES get bought back up. I'm pretty confident that we're going to bounce to highs because we're forming this SMT, right? So that's when you can say, okay, I'm going to enter off break of structure now, because most likely, since we have SMT and we're holding this 5-minute, we're going to get a big push, right? I'm not even going to get a fair value gap to enter, because if you try to wait for a fair value gap here, you're not going to get an entry. Oh, actually, you do get an entry. It is pretty late though, but then your risk reward is way skewed. Like, it's not even worth to take this trade, right? It wouldn't be worth to take this trade, because your stop for this to be technically invalidated have to be at the wick, right? So it's a 1-to-1. It's not bad, but then that high's taken. This point in time. Oh, let me go back to NQ. I want to see what NQ is doing at this time. Is displacement critical for the initial liquidity sweep or just on the reversal? No, the liquidity sweep can be anything. It could be literally a poke above. There's no, I don't care about the displacement for liquidity. Doesn't matter. Now, this could be like I wouldn't really take this, but I want to see what happens here. I do like this because you get this kind of internal swept here. You get that market structure shift. Now, this would be a 1-minute setup, right? This would be a 1-minute setup for whatever it is. You have this little SMT here. This would not be a bad short. The risk reward, not too bad. First price target would be this low. Let's see what happens here. Do we get stopped? Oh, there we go. There it is. First price target hit. So that would have been a decent trade there. Rest probably gets stopped at break even. We'll see if it gets. And then, yeah, rest would be stopped. That's not a bad one, though. And then the rest of the day, there was really, we just pushed up the buy side and then that's it. And then we just sold off after. I want to see if there was a setup here, though. Once we took buy side. Is this end of the day, though? I think this is after. God damn, I keep pressing spacebar and it goes back. All right, 1 minute. See if there was a setup here once we took that high. Now I'd watch. This could be internal swept now. Now I want to see break a structure here. There we go. Now, not really a lot of displacement that I'd like to see. Right? We get kind of a poke above, but there's no really follow through here. Let's give this a try, see how this would play out. Again, probably would not take this. Not the highest quality setup. But again, first PT would be 1.6R, not bad. Second price target, again, all these equal lows down here. All right, all these equal lows down here. See how this plays up. This is the first thing I'd see, though. See if this gets stopped or not, or we get sell off. Choppy, there we go. Beautiful. Pull back to that fair value gap. Continue to see a sell off. Price target also would be any fair value gaps that haven't been hunted yet. So like this is a breakaway gap, right? Nothing has come through this yet. So this would be a price target. And there you go. So that'd be nice too. That was pretty much the only thing I saw, though. The rest of the day, and then the rest, there's really nothing after that. But there's a lot of opportunity on Friday. I was very skeptical taking anything, though, because I wasn't expecting to see that kind of action for that day, to be honest. It was very hunt, search and destroy on liquidity type of day. How do you determine when to set stop at previous candle or recent high / low? If your risk reward allows you to put it at a recent high, then do it. Like, for example, that if we were going to trade, that liquidity sweep right here. Like if I was going to enter short here, I'm allowed to sort of give this more room, like one of these, high wicks, because since my first PT is right here, it gives me, I'm 1.6, as long as it's like at least 1-1 or 1.5, that's what should be your first price target. It should be a 1-1 or 1-5 is what you want, right? Now, if I set it to stop, like that's still really nice, 2.6, but it gives me, I'm more likely to get stopped out if I was to suit it here. But since like this high is so close to where my entry is, it allows me. Now, if I was going to enter here, right, I wouldn't be able to, set my stop at this high, right? Because then my risk reward is very skewed. It's not really worth me taking this trade, right? Now, I would put my stop at the previous wick. So then this gives me, a more reasonable room to work with. And then it manages my risk better. How do I stop my weekly subscription so I can switch to monthly? You got to go to the WAP. You got to go to your WAP hub. So go to wap.com/hub. It'll go to your subscriptions and then you can manage all of them from there. Are you going to backtest trades on the 15 and 30-second trade this week? Oh, you know what? I think I should. Are you guys down with that? You want to try doing that this week? I'm kind of curious. To see it. All right. So going into tomorrow, sounds cool. Yeah, I'm down to do it. I'll get the subscription for it. Nothing going on in my life right now. Let's stare at some charts. All right. So going into tomorrow, number one, here's weekly opening gap for the week. Everybody draw this in on their charts or note this down so you can draw it in later. Weekly opening gap is from 4153.25, 4153.25 to 4150. I'll put it in the chat. 4153.25, 4153.25 to 4150. All right, there we go. That's weekly opening gap for the week. Pull this back over. All right. So going into this week, first thing I want to look at, again, like we said on the weekly time frame, very shitty action because we've been stuck in this range, this doji candle range. We have not yet to break above this. We broke above it, end up closing in, broke above it, end up closing in. Now this candle ended up, opening in this range. We'll see if we can get, maybe a push down or maybe, a bounce to break out buy side. We'll see. Going into tomorrow, I am bullish, but I could honestly see the possibility of us seeing a strong push in the coming days to take out sell side. The reason is because we've been slowly starting to form, lower highs, right? We have a high here, lower high, lower high, lower high. We can't seem to really get that bounce like we want to see, or at least as strong as we want to see it. So I have no strong bias going into tomorrow. I'm going to say that I am more bullish than bearish. And the reason is because we've taken this sell side liquidity. We've taken internal sell side liquidity. I do think the next draw on liquidity will be this high, but honestly, I could see a sell-off in the overnight session too. I think that is a possibility as well. We could see a sell-off in the overnight session targeting sell side liquidity here. So this could also be the draw as well. So going to be watching these levels to see if these get taken out this week and then potentially move higher. Again, if we look at a 4 hour, we do have, wait, maybe it was on the daily. Yeah, we have a daily order block here. So we can see I draw on top of this candle. This is the order block level. We've been continuing to hold this. Look at a 15-minute. You can see that every single time we come to this level, we bounce. So we'll see if we continue to hold that or not. I would like to see the draw on liquidity be this high. But honestly, I'm totally fine seeing a sell-off in the overnight session because then we could see more sell side get swept and then we could try to play the reversal. So can you quickly map out how you draw order blocks in? I feel like everybody who does ICT classifies it differently. Yeah. So the way I draw it is on a daily, like for this on the daily, I like to see two strong candles, right? So we get a big candle down and then a big candle up. So then I take the top of whatever the body is of that candle, right? So I take the top and I just draw it in as a line. And then this line is the most reactive point of the order block. So like, let me see if I can find it on a smaller time frame, like a 15-minute, or maybe even a 5-minute. Like this. This is a rally-based rally. So take the top of the candle. You can see how much it reacts even when it gets broken through. Right? So you get a big candle up, small basing candle, big candle up. So this is a rally-based rally. So this is what I would consider order block. Now, a lot of people will draw it in like this, like draw the whole candle. But this is fine as well. But I normally just draw in the top of the body because that's mostly the reactive point. You can see it come down, bounce, go through it, and then it acts as resistance as well, and then pulls back down. But I'll start pointing more order blocks out in the live sessions. All right. Anybody have any questions? Not really much that too much I want to go over. I'm very excited. Get the week started. Let's fucking kick some ass this week. We've been having honestly pretty slow growth the last 2 weeks, and I'm fucking sick of it. So I'm ready to kick ass this week. I'm not playing no more fucking games. I'm on my shit this week. I'm about to fucking go ape. I'm about to go crazy. So kind of off topic, but I'm on max. Any good screen recording recommendation? I'm on max. Any good screen recording? I'm confused on the question. I'm on max. Any good screen recording? Oh, for Mac. Oh, Mac. I'm stupid. OBS. Yeah, OBS for sure. 20 handle per trade minimum. Honestly, we don't even need to catch 20 handles. We just need to catch some good fucking trades. Could you go over SMT and what it means? How to know if it's bearish or bullish? Yeah. So an SMT is a divergence between ES and NQ. If we look at the one here, bullish SMTs are from the lows. So one of ES or NQ is making a lower low while the other one makes a higher low. As you can see here, at the time, ES is forming this lower low. We take liquidity internally from these equal lows. We break below it. But NQ never ended up breaking that same low that was created, right? We have a higher low now, and then we get that buying pressure coming in. So this is bullish. If an SMT is from the highs, it's bullish. Or from the lows, sorry. If it's from the lows, it's bullish. Now, if it's from the highs, like this right here, this would be another SMT. You can see NQ ended up breaking above this high and formed a higher high, while ES never took that high out and formed a lower high, and then we sold off right after. So this is a bearish SMT. You get me? Yeah. Yep. Now it doesn't, you don't, now a lot of people always ask me, it's like, which one do you choose to trade if you have a setup? For me, I like trading whichever one has better action, to be honest. Because they'll both, again, it's bearish for both of them, just like it's bullish for both of them. But whichever one is showing better action is the one that I'll most likely trade. Because honestly, sometimes you'll get in an SMT where the other one moves better, the other one, one of them moves slower. So it all depends. How much is a burrito at where you are, Justin? I paid $18 at Chipotle and got a small Coke with it. Oh my God. I pay for like, I want to say like $13, $12 for a bowl at Chipotle. Somewhere around there. All right. I think that's all I got for you guys tonight. If anybody has any extra questions, again, feel free to just at me in the Discord and I'll get back to you. So hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'll upload the recording session if you guys want to go back and watch our session here. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's kick some ass this week. I'm not playing around, not playing no more games. I'm bringing my A game and I'm ready to hit some bangers this week. So enjoy the rest of your night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace.